Today we are talking about debt and how to get rid of it, why you should refinance in 2024 this year, and start planning for the future. And me and Will got our views on it. We're also going to go over a few facts and things that you should start thinking about. And maybe you don't do it, or maybe you do it, but these are things that you should definitely think about, put in perspective, talk about, and again, have a plan, not to be reactive, but to be proactive and try to take care of your finances for the coming years. Will, I know right now we're talking, why people should be refinancing in 2024. To me, it's about having a plan. I know people are wait till the rates come down, wait till the rates come down. At the same time, those people are saying that have 25 to 30% interest rates on credit cards, paying minimum payments. And as you know, with some of our clients right now, that it's just added up over the year and accumulated super high. What are your thoughts on that? Or what kind of, what would you recommend to somebody right now who's saying, I'm waiting for rates to come down before I refinance, or I don't want to get rid of the current low rate I have. I'd rather pay my other debts.
Right.
And of course, the infamous one, I'm going to throw this last one out there that you could just build off of, because this is the one that you'll probably hear the majority of the time, which is, no, I'm going to pay extra and pay them down on my own.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you've obviously seen that over the years that doesn't happen, and they end up refinancing every 2 years and making things worse. So, I think most people they have their foot dug in the sand. I'm not changing my rate right now, right? I have a 2.5, 3.5. Why would I go raise my rate to 6? On paper it makes sense, just in your head it's like one of those things. It's like you just can't do it, right? You're at 3. Why would I take my mortgage to 6? Like, you're just stuck. But if you start adding up the numbers, and I think if we can ever pull up this debt consolidation tool, which really points out the obvious savings that you may incur, you can see that over the years you're paying 15, 20, 25, 30% credit cards, stuck in the revolving credit card quicksand where you just are making payments. Even if you're making double payments, like you just mentioned, I'll pay it off myself. It's 3, 4, 6 years down the line, and you go spend on it again next Christmas, and it goes back up. It's a revolving thing. That's why it's called revolving debt, I guess. My feeling on it is getting yourself ahead of it. That people have so much equity now in their home. It's just sitting there. A lot of people are wasting so much money not wanting to change their mortgage rate, but it's just all in jest. It's just a bad reason to keep that rate. I think people are just stuck. It's just a mindset thing at this point, and that seems to be always the case. So,
I mean, I look at it like I said, people are very reactive, right? Like we've talked about this before. Something's due, they wait till the last day, and it's almost like they're waiting for some hope. People think the market's going to crash, they sell too soon. People wait till it's too late, and then they're in a position where they can't even get the money, and that's how things go bad. That's how foreclosures happen, bankruptcies happen, right? It's like people don't plan and aren't ahead of the game. And I think it's human nature almost, or it feels like it. But I mean, why would you want to refinance in 2024? Well, if rates do come down, and who knows what's going to happen, right? We don't know, but they're projected to come down towards the end of this year. Why would I want to get all of my finances squared away, get my credit as high as possible, and have cash flow so I can restructure that debt at a future date, versus trying to do 2 steps after an improved market comes back, right? So again, to me, it's like I would rather, I look at this too, like, we deal with a lot of investors and what they do, and the difference between an actual residential, a regular homeowner and an investor is that they're looking at creating cash flows. It's not a matter of the rate. It's what's the money going to do for them. They know how their money works, right? So I might, pay 20% interest because it costs me, $10,000 on something that's going to make me $50,000. And most of us, if you said, oh yeah, I'll pay $10,000 to make $50,000, you're going to say, yeah, but most people are not doing it. So that's kind of the problem, right? It's like, I know what it means, and I know it's obviously worth it. You give me $1, I give you 10 back. No brainer. But why aren't people doing it right now? So that's a big thing right now. And let me give you a couple facts really quick too that just came out. That to me say people should be doing this now before they can't do it. The average homeowner right now is at a 46% loan to value, meaning that they have 54% of equity in their home, which means they have a lot of utilization for the debts that they might have. The average credit score for homeowners is at 7, and the average credit score for everybody else is 715. So not everybody is at a bad situation yet. Now you might have a high credit score and tons of debt, but you have lots of utilization left. But what happens when you start maxing out that utilization? It's going to bring that back down, and that'll bring those averages down and also prevent you or risk you having higher payments, whether it's a refinance, whether it's another credit card, personal loan, whatever you do. And then a couple other ones here I thought were interesting. There are 1.7 million people right now eligible to take cash out of their home if you're taking cash up to 80% loan to value. And if rates come down a little bit more towards the end of the year, I think that's going to be over 3 million homeowners eligible to do this. And then the one that we talk about all the time, which again, a home appreciation. So 5.6% year over year home appreciation. That's a Black Knight resource, I believe. So other ones are different. So to me, that's the saying, like everybody has all this opportunity to utilize something. And they're like, oh, I don't want to put it on my home. Well, you're putting it on your personal guarantee right now of credit cards or personal loans or unsecured debt, right? That means they come after you. And that means it's something that we're going to have a lot more difficult time digging out later on. So,
right. Yeah.
So what would you say for somebody who's like, I don't know, what should I do? What do you suggest?
Well, from that Black Knight information, I think the average person has $240,000 of equity to do something with. So just imagine you have $240,000 in the bank sitting there. What would you do with it? Just, it's always about changing perspective. Put that in your mind. What would you do with it? Why would you let it sit? It's only going to make you this much money. Take it, go put it somewhere. Like you said, people are stuck. Let me give you an example of a client we have. Currently, he has a 5% interest rate on his FHA loan, but he has $100,000 worth of debt, struggling month to month. 20%, 25% on his Chase, Visas, Home Depot. It is 20 different cards that he's paying all that interest on. Yeah. If you combine the two, and that's what we're doing eventually here, to a 5.5% rate, cash out loan, get rid of $100,000 worth of debt, which I think it equals about $3,800 worth of minimum monthly payments. His payment is increasing by only $3,800 a month he's paying. So he's raising his interest rate 0.5%. Okay, he cried about it at first, but I explained to him that, you're paying this much. His payment is going to go up 3 because of the difference and everything.
So he's worried about, he was concerned that his payment's going up $300, but on the flip side, which is, $3,600 a year, but he in return is saving over $45,000 a year in his other debts, which means over this next year he could save $42,000 of cash money back in his bank, and then leverage that debt that he's getting right now into a refinance, which is basically just a restructure of a better debt, right? And have $42,000 more in his pocket, basically.
The blinders. He went back and forth with his wife. She said, "Why are we doing this? Let's take out a second loan or a loan or a HELOC at 13% for $110,000 to pay out for." And I said, "Why? What do your payment's going to be $1,000 more a month for that. So why would you do that?" So we discussed. We ran the numbers. We did the debt consolidation tool, and this guy he wants to buy a house later this year. He wants to do many things, but at least he's proactive now. Like you were saying, people wait too long. They miss payments. Their credit starts going down. They utilize too much credit cards, so their credit score is 620, 580. You start missing payments. You miss a mortgage payment. We always get called about 2 months too late. I guess we should make a story about that. It's 2 months too late and call it something like that, because it always seems like you get the most severely late people as far as debt after the fact. They're not preparing. And I think that's to your point for everything we're talking about today, is stay ahead of that. Let's get 3 months ahead. Let's get 6 months ahead. You can see
Yeah,
where this is
the
going.
key to this, the key to this is planning. You just nailed it. Like, get ahead of the game, basically. Let's keep it as simple as possible, right? Plan now, get ahead of the game. That's good that that client is doing that, and hopefully you made him see that. Again, I think some of the hardest part for us is to try to let other people or get through to other people so they understand, like that example that you just showed, right? Because if you're fearful of something, then you're always going to lean the other way because you're fearful of it, right? So you're going to run the other way. You don't know. So it's about knowledge, understanding. I think, like, I know you have like debt consolidation tools, like you said, that you put together that, that you can look at all the debt, look at what the difference is, and find out, okay, am I better keeping my, like if you had $5,000 in credit card debt and you had a 3% going to a 6% or something on taking a 500,000 to 510 or something, that might not make sense,
That
right?
doesn't make sense.
But if you have large amount of debts, and again, if you're able to move money around and leverage debts, good debts, right? Get rid of bad debts. Bad debts are credit cards, or car loans, depreciating assets, something that doesn't make you money, like say an investment project, investment property, or a loan that you have to start a business, right? Those can be leveraged as good debts. But yeah, explaining to people, you have tools where you can put all those debts together, find out if it makes sense for them to stay where they're at right now, or does it make sense to refinance, or does it make sense to consolidate another way, or basically just let people know what they can do, right? Just like explain to people, talk to people, get knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
So I think
they
that's
have
important to know.
the blinders on. They another important factor. I mean, all these tools that really help kind of point out the positive that you can take out of this. But I mean, it should have just been said, okay, instead of $3,800, you're only going to spend $300. Like, I mean, that should be enough for me. But some people need them, to have it seen in front of them. A couple of things that were preventing them is friends, family, the news said bad time to refinance. He didn't think it was a good time. He said, no, you're supposed to get a second mortgage. That's what the media is telling me. So
I hate the news. The news is always
So-
wrong. The news feeds on your fears, people. The news is telling you what you want to hear to keep you in a place that they want you to be in.
I had to fight through that barrier too. Aunt Susie watched CNN and they said that it was a bad time to refinance. So he's going with it. So, it was all those things, but we determined that this is way better. Besides all the investment talk and everything, he's getting ahead of his debts. I mean, even if he doesn't even go invest in another property, he goes and does this. He's
Doesn't matter. He's got
saving so much cash. He
in
can
his
go invest
pocket
back
basically
into
in a
his
year.
mortgage, So
That blows
even if
my
he's not
mind.
investing,
That much savings.
it's that much savings, and there's people out there just sitting in his same situation that are just sitting there paying month to month on a 3% interest rate on their mortgage, but they'll
Trying to
gladly
get by,
spend-
probably paying minimums just to get by, and we know minimums don't get you anywhere. Like I said, that blows my mind. That's give me $300 and I'll give you $3,800 back is basically what you just told that guy.
Well, I don't know at what point credit card statements started doing that, but they have that thing on your billing statement where it says, if you pay this much extra, you can pay off this amount in so many years, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, if you pay the minimum, you'll pay off a $3,000 balance in 13 years or something wild.
Isn't it, 72 or something is the minimum payment usually, right? Isn't it like way up there?
It'll take you 13 years to pay off a credit card that you went and bought school clothes with. Like, it's absurd. So, I mean, he went over that with me too. He was like, well, if I do this on my credit cards, I can pay it off. And I said, no, you're not. I stopped him. I was like, no, you're not going to pay that off. So, yeah, I was glad to help this guy or get through to him. That's the challenge sometimes with people is just they have blinders. They have these preset conditions. They have the news telling them, which news knows all apparently, right? If you Google it, it's true. So I'm glad I was able to get through to this guy, but he's getting ahead of the game and beyond investing. He can go invest the $3,300 a month he's going to save and put it back into his payment and pay his house off in 15 years.
He can do whatever he wants with that money. I mean, you can go to Vegas, although highly not recommended. You can go buy a new car, or you could reinvest it, or you can keep in the bank as emergency funds. Especially, a lot of us don't have emergency funds. We don't plan that way, right? The majority of the country lives month to month and has less than 3 months reserves in their bank account. So that might be another smart idea. But again, everybody's different. everybody's got a different plan. Like I said, it still blows my mind how that guy is like 12 and a half times timesing his money, his $300 to get 3,800 back. So that blows my mind. But again, I think it's a matter of being aware. Everybody out there, just be aware, plan, know the numbers, find out if it is beneficial, and then you make a decision if it's something that you actually want to do or not. And whatever decision you make, you own that, and you say, like, I don't want to pay it because I'm going to pay it. And if you don't pay it, then that's on you. And if you do, well, then you beat the odds. Congratulations, rock and roll. But also find ways that, other options that make sense, right? Get out of your heads. Don't do what you think, do what actually makes sense. When it comes to finances, it's a good time to not be emotional. It's a good time to be analytical and actually know what makes sense, what numbers actually make sense, not just what you think you are going to do.
Right.
That's my
Absolutely.
2 cents. So yeah, we'll wrap this up here, but mainly right now, this is focus on planning. Think of the future, think of lower rates. Don't wait for them to come here. Start planning now, take action, run the numbers right now. Do what you can right now to restructure it. Get yourself ready, get yourself prepared. So when the time comes, you can restructure that debt and you can refinance or find out a different strategy that will make sense to make sure you aren't accumulating more debt and that you're actually limiting or lessening the debt that you currently have. If you like this and you want more topics as far as mortgages, strategies, or what to do with your finances, we'll keep putting out videos. Obviously, always reach out to us, text, email, call, send a smoke signal, a homing pigeon, whatever it is, and we'll be happy to have a chat with you to see what we can do to help you.